don't short Bitcoin unless you want to risk total destruction and annihilation.
Yeah,
The history of Bitcoin
only,
is shorts getting wrecked constantly.
well, the only way to get around that, I mean, well, not forever, right? I mean, these contracts do expire every month. So either way, at the end of the month, it's over, right? I mean, it's not going to be a perpetual long,
That's
right?
true.
So they do have expirations, right? So one way to mitigate this is to have weekly expirations and not let people go further out. And then the worst case scenario is, it stays locked. The contracts that were active completely close out, and then you got to wait till it stabilizes before anyone can take on another position.
Yep. I mean, if you look at the chart, why would you want to short that? We're going parabolic. The green candles are getting taller and they're coming faster. If you short into a mania, you done screwed up, boy. You're going to lose it all.
Well, I agree. But the market will turn sooner or later. We will have a bit of a downturn.
When?
Some people could be using them to hedge, right?
Yeah.
If you have Bitcoin and you can sell forward at a nice, 10% premium.
Yeah, I can explain cash and carry.
Why not?
If you want, one of us needs to explain cash and carry, because it's all anyone cares about is how is the cash settled futures going to affect the spot price? I just can't get it. I don't understand. We have to explain that. I can do it, or you can do it. Okay, I'll
go ahead.
So if Bitcoin futures expiring in 3 months are trading at a 10% premium, you sell that future and you buy Bitcoin spot. You buy the Bitcoin now and you sell the future contract, and you make the 10% difference by waiting 3 months till it expires. That's it. You sell the future, which is a higher price, and you buy the Bitcoin, which is a lower price. This pushes down the future contract price and up the spot price. It's called cash and carry, and all you got to do is have an account, buy your spot, and wait, and that's it. Easy, right? Locked in your profit.
Well, it's not that easy, right? Sorry, I'm muting because there's a truck going by. All right, so let's talk about two things with this. So it's very likely that a lot of the shops have already looked to do this, because I heard that OTC markets went nuts when it looked like this futures thing was going to become a definite. Mm-hmm. And this could be one of the reasons why Bitcoin went up from my expected pullback around 7.5 and then just about 10K, and then we exploded all the way to 16K. So this could be preparations for this type of trading. A lot of the prop shops, a lot of some of the hedge funds are buying up the Bitcoin. They are smart enough not to let this Bitcoin sit at third-party exchanges where the Bitcoin is at risk of theft and hacks. So they are taking possession of that Bitcoin. They have the Bitcoin in collateral so that they are in a position to short Bitcoin in the futures market. And worst case scenario, they will just have the collateral on hand to prevent their hedge fund from going broke in case they are wrong on the short trade. So a lot of the funds probably have already prepared for this if they were going to do it. Do you agree?
The issue, so the problem with that, everyone wants to dream that this new thing that's going to change everything is coming. And what you find out half the time is that really what's causing the thing is the same thing that's always been causing the thing. So Bitcoin's been going up exponentially, as have the Google searches, as have the wallet downloads, as have the hardware storage devices sales, as have the YouTube videos, as have the altcoins. Like, everything's growing exponentially in this space to the point where websites can barely stay up. And everyone thinks they're DDoS attacks, but they're not. Just maybe once in a while they are. They're just too many users hitting F5 because they care a lot. The charting websites go down, the exchanges go down, the CBOE retail website went down because people really care about this stuff, and there's millions of us now. So that is the reason the price is going up. And as you can see by the CBOE volume, there are Wall Street people filling up their bags now, and they have giant bags to fill, and they will ramp in, and they will scale in, and they will blow up this bubble squared, just like they did with real estate, just like they did with education costs. Everything Wall Street looks at, they blow up in a giant bubble in. Well, we've got one bubble. Let's blow it up with another bubble and combine them, make a bubble squared. Let's make the biggest bubble the world's ever seen. And we will. That's where we're headed.
We can debate that. No, we can debate that. I don't think Wall Street... I mean, look, Wall Street was selling all those derivatives, but it hurt them more than anybody, right? It's not like
they got bailed out.
Profited.
They got bailed out.
Wall Street, yeah. Anyway, maybe we'll have a different podcast on that part. And I wasn't Bear Stearns during the financial crisis. That was actually
one or two guys didn't get bailed out, but a lot of guys did.
But no. I actually heard direct reports that OTC went crazy.
Yeah, they won in. Everybody wants in, including OTC.
No, but retail customers don't go OTC. Not many.
Well, small family offices do. I mean,
yeah, small ones. But I do think that there was enough demand from big players to buy up the Bitcoin because they're going to want that collateral if they're going to profit from the short. Okay, because here's the thing: if they're going to be profiting from the short of the futures, and they really want to make the position stick, they would need to be selling the underlying to help drive the price down. And we're probably going to get into that in a little bit later as far as how can you manipulate the futures. Now, from what I'm hearing, the margin requirement on the long side is only 35%. Is that what you saw?
I've heard 44% to open and 40% to maintain.
That's the CBOE side.
Oh, okay. All right.
I heard the CME is at 35%.
It could be.
Okay, so that's still pretty, but that's still a lot of margin. So let me explain that for our viewers because they're still a little confused on these things. Because remember, so many people are now experts at trading, and the only experience they have with any broker is like Poloniex or Bittrex, right? But they think they're expert traders, right?
Good one.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Which is the life that I'm dealing with right now. But I don't mind. It's great. I have a huge customer base for helping people learn how to trade. But okay, so let me explain how the margin works, right? So for the CME, let's talk about we already discussed the short position. So when Bitcoin is at 20,000, you will need 500,000 in margin, and you better have some reserve because every night that margin goes back to break even of 500,000 if the price stays, in that vicinity. So on the long side, if Bitcoin is 20,000, there is 5 Bitcoin in a contract. That's 100,000 notional. That's the financial term for the value of your position. The value of one long future contract in Bitcoin, the notional of 100,000. With 35% margin, you would need to put up $35,000 in your brokerage account. Okay, if the value of one Bitcoin goes up by $100, that means the value of your contract went up by $500. That means you will be credited $500 into your available funds account, and basically in order to maintain your margin of just over $35,000, like $35,000 and let's say $50 or something, right? So you'll be credited just under $500 into your account. Also means that if Bitcoin loses $100, that means your notional is not 100,000 anymore. It is now $99,500, and you would need 35% of that in your margin. So they would have to take a little bit of money from your account in order to maintain a 35% margin on that. Okay, so you do need more money in your account than the margin requirement if you want to hold on to your position for more than a day, because the moment if it drops on your first day, they will liquidate your contract. So the whole point of these futures is that there is enough liquidity that the moment you can't refill your margin, your contract would immediately get sold on the open market and to another buyer and seller. The problem happens if your contract needs to be liquidated, and there's nobody who wants to pick up your side of the contract. So now there is this slippage going on, which is why you have this giant margin cushion, so that while there's slippage, you're still responsible for that. If you blow through your entire margin and you have no more funds in your account, now there is this gap. So either the exchange takes a loss, or the exchange may or may not have the rights to go after your additional income. I'm not really sure how that works, because up to now these futures never had to go that far. Even when oil went up to 150 and then crashed to 35, there was enough liquidity to immediately liquidate people's accounts before they blew through their entire margin. And the margin on oil is only like 2%. It's something ridiculously small. Same thing on the S&P 500, same thing on gold. The margin is like 2%. So a standard oil contract is 1,000 barrels, right? Let's say each barrel is $50. So the notional on this contract, $50 a barrel for 1,000 barrels, is $50,000. During the trading hours, you're only required to have about $2,000, $2,000 to $3,000 in margin. So you're only putting up $2,000 to control $50,000 notional. So 2,000 on 50,000 is about 4%. So your margin is about 4% of the notional of that contract. So just so it makes sense for people, because the moment you fall under your margin and you can't refill it, they easily liquidate it on the open market. Okay, so what are your concerns, Richard, about these futures besides what we already discussed and the comments of Thomas Peterffy, Peterffy. So what are your concerns besides that? What do you think this means for the underlying price of Bitcoin?
I think that everything is in a bubble because they print the cash and they keep printing it, and they're not willing to increase interest rates. So they're cooking everything and they're raising all the prices up. And this has the effect of making the rich richer and the poor poorer, because the poor's assets get multiplied by 10% and the rich's assets get multiplied by 10%. And look at the notational differences. The rich people multiplied a big number, the poor people multiplied a little number. So people, brokers, financiers, bankers, rich folks, everybody, they want return on their investment. They want yield. They want percentage gains. And Bitcoin gives those better than any other product in the world. And being able to get margin on that multiplies those gains, since it's going up more often than it goes down. And being able to choose your risk level by being able to buy down your risk by selling some portion of your portfolio as an income play into the future, right? By, shorting or longing or whatever your strategy is. If you're a miner, there's a lot of options. You could do options too. LedgerX does, 50, 100 coins a day of volume, and you could do options. You could sell puts, you can sell calls, you can buy puts, you can buy calls, you can sell futures, you can buy futures. This whole portfolio is going to allow more people to get in, to play with it, and some people are going to get rich, and some people are going to get very poor. And historically, a market like this, that's a bull run that the world's never seen before, all that's happening is people that can't believe in the bubble, they can't believe in the mania, they short it, and they give all their money to the longs that believe in the psychosis.